Hello, I'm Nick Luck.
And I'm Rosie Tapner.
And together we'll be presenting coverage of this year's Burghley Horse Trials, streamed live and exclusive over 5 days on Burghley TV.
Yes, for just £20, a Burghley TV subscription will give you an access all areas pass to the heart of the action, from the very first horse inspection to the final trophy lift, and so much more.
Our 5-star event coverage includes exclusive previews, live interviews, expert analysis, behind-the-scenes content, celebrity guests, and masterclasses with Carl Hester and Yogi Breisner.
And when the event coverage stops, we keep going, hosting an evening highlight show today at Burghley, where we will review the best of the day's action with studio guests, as well as taking a look at what else has gone on around the event.
And if that wasn't enough, on Friday you'll be able to watch live coverage of the Dubarry Burghley Young Event Horse Final.
All this direct to your laptop, tablet or TV for just £20. So don't miss out. Head to the Burghley website and subscribe today. See you there.
Well, this is the moment.
It's one we all want to win.
Got his ears pricked, the horse looking for the next fence.
Now on to one of the biggest fences in the world, the Cottesmore Leap.
Gutsy through there, Veneer Chimera.
This for the title.
She's done it. Piggy, March and Veneer Chimera have taken Burghley.
Andrew Nicholson and Avery have pulled it off.
Now this is the fence that could cause problem.
And there it is, a record-breaking 6th Burghley title for William Fox Pitt.
One more to go for Tim Price and Ringwood Skyboy to take the Land Rover Burghley title, and they will do that.
It takes a very unique horse.
For the champion of Burghley for 2003 and the Rolex Grand Slam winner is Pippa Funnell.
We cannot underestimate how special this is.
Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing podcast, and it is cross-country preview. We're actually breaking this up slightly, listeners, because we went to start recording this last night, but essentially it was going to end up being an hour and a half show, and we thought it was much nicer to give you a little sneak peek on cross-country morning of our thoughts going into cross-country day. So I'm sat to set the scene outside the members' enclosure, overlooking the scoreboards outside the media centre at a sunny Burghley with Sam Watson, Devon Fan. Sam, what is the feeling among the riders about Derek's track this year?
Loads to jump, loads to think about. I'm looking at Burghley House, built about 500 years ago, such an iconic traditional setting. And that's what Burghley brings as an event, with all of the history and the terrain of Burghley. That's what's always been there, and that's what's the challenge. That's the kind of built-in bit. But what Derek de Grazier's brought is a modern twist. Mentioned cumulative risk with regards to jumping areas, the fear of failure. You know, that's what riders are. They're worrying about 20s. They're worrying about flags. They're thinking, got to be careful on some of those pins as well. The jeweled corners, big jumping efforts on yellow pins. Got to be accurate. We're being pushed out of our comfort zone in terms of being really skilled at our jobs, and that for me is perfect around such a traditional and testing natural venue, but with all of the modern cross-country design. And I just love the approach. I love the fact that he's gone, I'm going to give you guys 15 head-scratching accuracy questions. And not just accuracy, you know, you've got the bravery of the Leaf Pit, you've got the size and scope of the Cottesmore Leap, you've got the bounce into the Trout Hatchery, which is kind of an old school thing as well, but it's very, very horse friendly. You want to go out there and take it all on. You just want to. No rider can feel confident that they can answer all of those 45 jumping efforts cleanly.
The intensity is huge. That is intensity for horses, but it's intensity for riders as well, because they have got to be absolutely on their A game from the moment they leave the start box. The Burghley terrain is famous for being the toughest terrain in the world. D, numbers wise, How does Burghley compare at 5-star? What can we expect tomorrow?
You can expect, Nicole, today, because we're bringing ourselves to today.
Yeah, but
no,
I wasn't lying, listeners. We're recording this Friday evening. Are we pretending it's Saturday morning?
We're not pretending, but we're trying,
You're setting the scene.
It's very off-putting for me if I'm listening to a podcast on Saturday morning when I'm filled with, cross-country morning excitement. If someone is like, tomorrow.
It's Christmas!
Yeah. Hey! No, today, okay, right? So here we go. This is what it's going to be about. Cross-country day at Burghley has arrived. How long have you been waiting for this day? We've done the first 2 days. Now it's Saturday morning. It's about to get going. What do you want to look forward to? The first thing you need to remember is this is going to be a very tough day to see jumping clears. So you're going to see lots of drama. That's positive. Hopefully it's all good drama, but it's about 1 in every 2. So in terms of what the narrative is after this, expect this to be a tough 5-star cross-country test where we see only about half the field jumping clear. The second thing, we're going to see lots of time. One person made the time last year. One person made the time the year before. Speaking to Sam about it, and it's difficult to know whether this. Tom McEwen also mentions it in his press conference, Nicole. It's an inviting track. It's a track that flows really well. All of the riders have spoken and it's a good thing to remember on Saturday morning because we're going to hear lots, I'm sure, on Saturday evening. But all of the riders so far have spoken about how they love Derek's track. We'll see tomorrow evening. But on Saturday morning, everybody is telling me it's a great track. It flows, it's exciting, there's lots to do, it's a fair track, but there's lots to do. Last thing I would say is outside of the time, outside of the jumping, what do you want? Who's the first person that you want to give you a bit of an idea as to how this is going to flow? The fastest horse, or two of the fastest on our different speed metrics are going in the first 5 horses. And that, for me, 2 of the fastest horses in the field, that's going to set the tone. If they can get home, we'll get a bit of an idea then. Tregilder, Oliver Townend, is second to go. So 20 past 11, Nicole, this morning. We're going to see Tregilder, and very fast. Very, very fast.
Who's the other one?
Derek Dole and Galileo.
Derek Dole.
What have I got in my head? What Derek have I got?
David Dole.
I know it's David. Derek. Sorry, David. Sorry, Derek. David Dole, of course. Obviously, David Dole. Goodness me. Galileo Neamwood. One thing, Nicole, I just want to clear up because actually I heard. I think this is funny. I heard Oliver was asked at his press conference last night, could you get 3 inside the time? And he said, I could. Obviously, it's very unlikely, but it is possible. 2 of the horses that he has here are horses that have made the time.
The only 2 in the field to have made the time here previously, Ballamore Class and Swallow Springs.
And you know what I was actually, because I went straight to that stat and I was like, God, could he get 2 home? Could he? And then he's actually been here 26. He's the most experienced 5-star rider in the field as well. He's 84 5-star rounds since 2008. Tim Price is next in line, by the way, with about 60. And that's only since 2008. He's going to have more before that. But he's 84, so he's the most experienced jumper. Inside the time in 26 of those 84. But
at
only
5-star.
Yeah, but only 2 of the 26 at Burghley. And they're those 2 that you're talking about.
One of them was ridden by Andrew Nicholson. Swallow Springs was ridden by Andrew Nicholson when he went inside the time here, 2018.
What?
So Oliver's been inside the time here on another horse.
Right. Well played, well played, my lord. That was kind of like your interview with him yesterday.
Hashtag awkward. Yeah.
So basically, sorry, last thing on that. They are the 2, I would say, this morning. So 20 past 11 and half 11. They're your 2 guides on time. If they can both get home, very good jumpers. If they can both get home, I think they're the ones that set the tone for you as to, is this a day for 1, none, 5? We'll see.
This very much feels actually like the Europeans, where Sarah Ennis went out first on course and Grantstown Jackson is one of the fastest horses in the field, or was one of the fastest horses in the field. And when she came home a handful of seconds over the time, lots of people were going, oh, well, pretty achievable.
Yeah.
We'll see somebody get this, when in reality, she was one of the quickest and she still wasn't inside the time. So look out for those 2 tomorrow in terms of speed test and a speed guide. Sam, how do you set out of the start box at Burghley? You've got 11 minutes, 11 seconds to get round. Do you set out immediately chasing the clock? How does it work?
Sure. I mean, everyone will say it depends on what you're sat on. There's only about there'll be maybe 10 people there in the stables who feel they have a really good chance of making it. Everybody else will know that maybe making it isn't realistic, so they won't set off. They'll be conscious the whole time of not going into top gear because they don't know what they'll have left at the end. Now, even if you're going, you are. A wise man once said to me, "Manage energy, not time."
Who was that wise man?
That was actually Diarm and He was giving the company.
You weren't even joking.
No, I wasn't actually.
Nicole maybe wasn't on that meeting. That was an Echo Ratings management meeting. It was everyone. No, and that's what you're doing. You're managing energy. So look, as the first 3 fences here, I mean, even the main arena, 4th fence, they're really nice, inviting fences. Don't waste a second. Get into a flow, but try not to spike that lactate too high too quickly, because it's a long time. You got 11 minutes and 6 seconds later, you still need to be going. Like for me, and there will be some other horses maybe in the same boat, is you're trying to settle them. Like the horses their adrenaline will be up and they'll be wanting to maybe do too much too early. That's hard because you don't want to dishearten them. You don't want to waste that energy. So for me, I kind of have to let them run a little bit. And yeah, just manage that just wherever I can. And what should help here is like coming into the main arena, that should back them off. Like it's a very narrow channel going in, and there's always a lot of people stuffed around that. So that should back him off a little bit. And I'll be thankful that he backs up a little bit because he's very forward going. Other horses, riders will already be saying, all right, fellas, stay on a rhythm. Just stay in a rhythm. It'll be all about just find that rhythm and stay in it. And that's how you manage energy most efficiently, is to least amount of disruption. Do your job, take your tasks off one by one. Try not to make a big issue anywhere. Try not to do anything too dramatic. Just get into a flow and just keep ticking off fence by fence by fence.
Is there a fence, Sam, that is particularly playing on your mind, or that you've been back to look at more than any other?
No, the box at the bottom of the leaf pit is very big, and that just could get a big airy jump, and then you got to get to those angled shoulders, but I think they're forgiving enough.
Are you going left or right?
I'll go right. He goes a little, if he's going to go through one shoulder, he'll go through the right shoulder, so I'd rather he's going into the fence rather than trying to go out past the fence. That's just big. You come off that leaf pit, you never know what you're going to be like. You're going to be out of control, aren't you, going down there? And for my lad, like, he's not massively scopy, but he likes his job, so it's very hard to say one fence. Like this, the skinnies up in that Herbert's Hollow, they're like 1.40 m, and you can say they're brush, but like they're packed so tight.
They're quite hard brush, aren't they?
Yeah, like it's not brush. Like you can't brush through them. Like you bounce off them if you tried to brush on that. Like they're so densely packed. So like 1.40 m skinnies, like in a hollow. Like there's a drop at the back of the first one.
That feels quite reminiscent of, last year going through Defender Valley, he had those nests, didn't he, down at Defender Valley. And actually, I wonder, the horses will have got the leaf pit behind them. They'll have had a bit more opportunity to put them sort of settle slightly.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they jump. Okay, big question, D. Tim Price, Vitali.
Yeah.
Does he lead tomorrow night?
I believe that he will, yeah. I believe that he will. Look, we've seen Tim have big, high-profile disappointments. We've seen all the riders who put themselves to the front of these competitions, horses that are able to do 18 dressage, and equally horses that are higher profile because they're dressage leaders. We've seen them all have high-profile mistakes. We're talking about 5-star with a less than 50% cross-country jumping clear rate, and we're talking about putting people under pressure with time and terrain. So if he doesn't, he doesn't. But I actually love the attitude that, we were lucky, we spoke to him this evening, Nicole, and he's calm, he's excited, he's put himself here in the best possible shape. He's here with one horse. He is... Sam's talked about ticking off fence by fence, very process driven. He talked about his dressage test as a very process driven dressage test. He talked about piece by piece, being able to essentially move through a dressage test. I don't expect that to be any different tomorrow. I don't expect that. I don't. Or sorry, today, of course. I don't expect that to be any different today. So the key for me, I do. I think he'll be there, but actually, I think you've got 3 horses that'll close the gap. You talked about best ever rated cross country field. It's a while since I felt like this on a Friday night, Saturday morning. I think we're going to have a right old school battle royale of the old names, and I'm not being disrespectful or discounting people like Grace Taylor who've done so well to put themselves into a brilliant platform. But tomorrow feels like Tom, Tim, Oliver, Pippa. You go back, Roz, and even you go back into your 30s, into your 35s, and actually there is a wealth of experience all across this course that are going out to tackle an big old cross-country day for the sport. It feels different and it feels exciting, Nickers. I know I hope it comes across. This morning at Burghley is a very special moment, because this is where all the preview and all of the hope and all of the excitement of the sport lies. Tonight will feel totally different. Tonight it'll be all about how it all played out. But right now, anything can happen. I think he holds on, but I have absolutely no major ability.
Saturday night of a 5-star, everybody is always exhausted because that sort of adrenaline crash of exactly what has happened and the roller coaster that we've all lived through to get to that point. Tim Price, fun fact for you listeners, he was 13 seconds over the time here last year. He has 13 seconds in hand ahead of Oliver Townend this year.
That's interesting, Nicole.
I was so delighted with that fun little fact. I stumbled upon it.
And looking, they'll know each other better. I know they went to Olympics together, but they'll know each other, so they could improve on that. But the ground here has had more.
That was last year.
That was last year.
Yeah.
What I mean is, as in they are another year in partnership, and with that, with a Burghley under your belt, he'll know him better. He'll know what he feels like. So he could improve on that time, but. It can't. I don't think it can ride quicker the ground than it did last year. Last year we had a baking hot summer. Underneath was firm, and Burghley always surprised you. There's always a little bit more moisture in that ground than you think, and that's energy. We're talking about recoil. We're talking about energy loss on every stride, and there will be a little bit more energy loss on every stride because there's a little bit more moisture in the ground.
Conditions here this year, we've had a little bit of rain, listeners, but actually it's dry now, and I think it's forecast to be dry. I think the ground tomorrow will be very good going. Can we ask about Oliver Townend? Because Ballamore Class and Swallow Springs in equal second, 24.2. Both of those horses have made the time here before. However, this time 12 months ago, he had a Burghley cross-country day he'd really like to forget. Putting it quite frankly, he didn't finish on either of his horses in a competitive position. Can he reverse those fortunes this year? And of the 3, which would be your favoured horse, Sam, to possibly be the one in prime position tomorrow night?
I think Tregeilder has the best chance of the 3 because Ballamore Class on good ground badmintons, where 4 or 5 horses have made the time. Ballamore's been 1 second over, 2 seconds over, and it doesn't always, and not with Oliver misjudging or sitting there. Oliver has to work on him. He has to coax him along. He had to work on him in his dressage test today as well. Just keeping the fire lit and keeping him stoked. He's not an out and out galloper. He's a real 5-star. He's an incredible jumper, and he's relentless. And he loves the job, and he keeps going. But I find it hard to see him making the time. Swallow Springs, you kind of put Badminton to one side. He was out early, and he maybe just, he would have had more feedback by the time he went on the second horse, but. Yeah, again, I don't know. I don't see Swallow Springs, again, having loads up his sleeve here by any means. If we don't have a classic Moe in the field, we don't have even a Veneer Tamira who's gone very, very close many times. I mean, maybe Swallow Springs and Ballamore Class are falling into that category, but Tregeilder's going to have best ground. Not that it's going to deteriorate much by any stretch, but it will in places, actually. You watch, there will be footprints on that course in places. So going early is an advantage, I think, with Tregeilder. He'll be in such a positive mindset with his 2 better, with his, he's in second equal on 2 horses. With those 2 still to come, he'll leave nothing. He'll go for it, fully fully committed for a clear inside the time on Treguilder, and I think that's his best chance of getting the time.
Interesting, because actually Treguilder is still very well placed as well, just outside the top 10 on a 30.5, equal with Tom McEwen's Luna Mist, who is a 10-year-old stepping up to the level for the first time, who's caught everybody's eye this weekend. And Tom, you can tell when you speak to him about it, he's really excited about heading out the start box on Luna Mist.
Yeah, he fancies on her as well. That's such a fascinating round to watch. I do think that that's one of the rounds you have to watch, not just for the competition, but for the future as well. But he's optimistic, you know. I just think it's harder on a 9. They don't have. We did Bertoni, 10-year-old.
10-year-old.
Okay, but even doing Bertoni last year with its hills and stuff like that was so much easier on stamina and speed than this is. Like, this is just such a unique test, and there's very few. I know Bramham's hilly and stuff like that, but
she didn't make the time around Bramham. Yeah. Interestingly.
The only other thing that you have here as well is volume. Like Oliver Townend does have 3 good horses. Tommy's got, certainly with Toledo, the Cursor. You have the Colorado Blues. There's actually a lot of good cross-country horses in this field. That's actually where the Equirating numbers are useful, is it tells you that this is like the best cross-country field. Everyone's worked out, like the field strength at the Lamoon has been going up, because that's where the London 52s have been going, and the smarter, lower scoring horses. Everyone's worked out going, we can go make hay at Burghley now. We'll bring our cross-country horse to Burghley. They're all here. That's why I think we could see maybe 3 inside the time. Won't be easy though.
Dee, I want to ask you, the US have got off to a great start. 6 combinations inside, I think, the top 18. Who's their best chance tomorrow?
Oh, that is actually a brilliant question. And
what?
One that I was not expecting. Nicole. One that I was not expecting. Okay, the first thing that's come to my head is Sesterleg. For experience, for the rider, for 5-star experience, I suppose. Who am I missing? Or am I missing someone? I mean, Jenny
Brannigan, Jenny Saville. FE Lifestyle made the time at Maryland in the 5-star there last year, but that was a little bit more straightforward. Grace Taylor, Game Changer, is an interesting one. I think she says the direct routes are going to suit her horse. Be some ask to go out and make the time at Burghley or be close to it on your first attempt. You don't know the terrain. I think you learn a lot from having been around the terrain. Will Fordry is going to go out there like a man on a mission, because he has delivered the best 5-star test that horse has performed. They are absolutely game and ready to go.
As I say, I didn't expect the question, so I don't know exactly. But we talked about it a little bit in yesterday's show. It's a really.
All right, Donald Trump.
I don't think the listeners heard that.
I said, all right, Donald Trump. I didn't expect the question, so
I'm not going to answer.
I'm going to answer your question with a different question. Can I tell you about Oliver Townend?
That wasn't what I was going to do. I was going to say, the same as I said yesterday, I think it's a really good indication of the general health of US event to be putting up a performance like this. It is day one, and if they can keep even half that amount in that zone of top 15,
they'll be pretty pleased.
They should be delighted. They should be absolutely delighted.
Okay, last question for you both. Who leads going into show jumping, and who is your surprise of the day tomorrow?
Oh.
Another question you didn't expect, Dee. I'm loving this. I've got him squirming, listeners.
Surprise of the day. Surprise of the day will be Luc Chateau.
Vien de
Mont. Only because not enough people will recognise the name and the horse, and will be surprised when he really delivers an excellent cross-country round and is one of the faster ones of the day.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a surprise, but it will be.
Yep.
Tim will lead.
Sam?
Oh, look, it's so in Tim's favour to, so just on balance, you have to say Tim. Toledo, I think, is right there. Like he would be my banker out of the top few. The surprise ones, I think, just because they've been on tougher ground, like that's what you're looking for. But I think Rogues Oakton will have a good day tomorrow, probably with both of his, and that's
both Puissance horses.
Both Puissance horses, and I think they'll appreciate the better going his too. And you could see a big improvement. Like they're hardy badminton mileage underneath them. They could go well.
My surprise of the day, Harry Marchambeg Cooley going out from an early draw. I think he's going to go out. He's competitive. He's young. He's hungry. And that horse is an absolute machine. I don't think he knows how to go slowly. That's going to be my early one to watch. A 9-year-old stepping up to 5-star for the first time, so a lot to prove, but that's my one to watch. Tim Price leads for me. Listeners, there you go. That is your Saturday morning snippet. That is what you've got to look forward to. Don't forget to 25 minutes. Cool, 25 minutes. It was only meant to be 10, listeners, but there you go. Get to Burghley early, enjoy it, and we'll see you on the other side.
Now, listeners, let's talk insurance for just a moment, because we all want to make sure that our horses are as well looked after as they possibly can be. And let's be totally honest, while we hope that we never need to call upon insurance, with horses, you can never be too sure. And that is why we have teamed up with Agria, because they're the only insurance provider within the UK that offers lifetime equine insurance. And that means that there are no exclusions applied on new conditions that begin once the policy is in place, which means that vets' fees are covered year after year. They stand by their mission to provide the best possible care for horses and all pets as well, and importantly, peace of mind for owners. It's a market they know really well because the company first started in Sweden back in 1890, and Agria have a really tailored approach to keeping things simple and uncomplicated, which, listeners, as I'm sure you can agree, is music to everyone's ears. We all love simple and uncomplicated. So if you'd like to find out more, why don't you go and pay a visit to agriapet.co.uk.
Welcome to Quickfire Questions with Fairfax and Favour, where we will be putting some quickfire questions, as the name might suggest, to some of the best riders in the business. And today's guest is the Bicton 5-star winner, Gemma Tattersall. Gemma, are you ready?
I'm ready, Nicole.
What is your favourite TV programme?
I absolutely love Friends. So relaxing and funny.
What Fairfax and Favour boot would you wear to a trot up?
I love the Reginas. They kind of can go with anything, and I've got a few different colours, so to match it with jackets and tops and things like that. And I also love the over-the-knee Amira boots as well.
Who is your horse of a lifetime?
Arctic Soul.
What was your first ever blue box delivery?
The Regina.
Gemma Tattersall, thank you very much for doing our quickfire questions with Fairfax and Favour.